Welcome to the Transform My Dance Studio podcast, the only podcast for dance studio owners, where each week we bring you business growth strategies to help you increase your profits, impact the lives of more students, while ensuring you get back some time to have a little life outside of the studio. It's time for you to become the go-to studio in your area. Now, here's your host, founder of the Dance Studio Owners Association, Clint Salter.
Hey there, Dance Studio Owners, it's Clint Salter here, and welcome to another episode of the Transform My Dance Studio podcast. Today is all about saying goodbye to admin anguish inside of your dance studio. But hey, before we get started, today we have just released a brand new video training, Dance Studio Recharge, where for the next 5 days, I'm going to be walking you through how you can grow your dance studio and get back your life. If you haven't already joined us for this free training, please, all you need to do, if you're in the US or Canada, is text the word Dance Recharge, all one word, Dance Recharge, to 44222. That's Dance Recharge to 44222, or go to our website, dancestudioownersassociation.com/recharge. dancestudioownersassociation.com/recharge. I would love to have you participate in this training that we're doing across the next week. But now, for today's episode, which is all about getting rid of those tasks that take up the most amount of time for the least fulfillment. Yes, we are talking all about the dreaded admin tasks inside of your dance studio. From finding the ideal admin team to minimizing your time in front of the computer, even when you're a one-man or woman show, this clip that I've taken from a live event that I ran not too long ago is going to walk you through everything you need to get in your studio up and running so that it operates on autopilot, which means you can reclaim those hours in your week to either grow your business or maybe hit the day spa. Up to you. I'd go for the day spa. Anyway, enjoy this clip from one of my live events. I'll talk to you really soon. Who has a receptionist or an office manager at the moment? Who does it themselves? What's another option? Some people didn't put their hand up.
My mum does mine.
Oh yeah. Whose mum does that? My mum did mine for about a month. Yeah. Look, if you make it work, good on you. You know, I think that's great. So let's talk about office staff, because I always say, like, this office person is the heart of your studio, right? They are the absolute heart and soul of what you do. They're the person when, you know, little Sally walks in and they want her to go, good morning, you know, good afternoon, not, busy, you know. I love that you laugh because you know what I'm talking about. I know it's a touchy subject as well, so I might say some things and you might feel offended. Please don't be, but I just want to be really honest with you today and give you the tools that you can take away. The office staff, remember that person that's sitting there is so crucial to your business on so many levels. For you as that support person that believes in your vision, that is the biggest thing. Right? Because when you've had a shit day, you're going to go into them and you want them to say, hey, what's wrong? Like, you want that support from that person for you to be able to have a cry, or because your husband will be like, you know, have a cry and really feel like they've got you back. You know, like they have got you. No matter what happens, they're like totally there for you, and they're like, don't worry about her. She's always like that. I'll look after you. Come over here. Do you want a cup of coffee? Right? And you might think that this is like, where is this dream person? They're out there. Yeah, and it's around your it's definitely around your recruitment process. So they've got to have you back. They've got to have amazing, amazing customer service. Director of First Impressions. I call them your Doffy. Director of First Impressions, your Doffy. And that's what they are. Because when that new student walks in and they're a bit scared and the mum's like, oh no, I've heard dancing's a nightmare and it costs too much money. They're walking through the door and that person needs to be like that beacon of light that knows, oh, hi, you must be Mrs. Smith and this must be Sally. They need to know who's coming in that day, and that's around your kind of intake process. They need to know that person. already. They need to welcome them. They need to feel like they're amazing. What they need to be for those parents that are existing is they need to feel like they can ask any question they want without their head being bitten off. Yeah, didn't you read the newsletter? Send the email. You know, I've seen that way too many times, so I can do it so well. And so you need to make sure, you really need to make sure that this person has your best interests at heart and the best interest of the studio as a business. One of the things that we don't think about is change. They need to be really adaptable to change. If they're one of these people who are like, this is how I do my job, this is how I do my... Oh, no, I'm not doing that. This is how... I had clients last year, and we were talking about their office person. I said, tell me about them. Oh, well, you know, they're great, and they do this. Oh, but they don't do email. I was like, what do you mean? Oh, no, she won't do email. What do you mean? Well, she just told us that she won't do an email. I was like, how long have you had her? She goes, 3 years. And she's never written an email? Oh, no. We do the emails. I was like, you need to get rid of her. They did. Hardest conversation that they had to have, but now they've got someone that does email. Amazing. Be careful, you know, and my lesson is that you're employing them. We feel scared, right? Don't we feel scared that sometimes that person's going to leave us and then we're just going to be, I won't use that word, in trouble. And it's scary, right? Because you're like, they do everything for us, they're our everything, but they're not really. So I want you to start. The first thing we're going to talk about is really tapping into what, in an ideal world, with this dream person that supports you, that loves everyone and does lots of work and email, what do they do for you? Have you ever made that magic list of what exactly do they do? Maybe they pick up your washing. I don't know. This list is ideal for you and what you need from your number one, you know, flag bearer. Yet they've got to be your number one fan in your studio. What do you want them to do for you? Make that list.
Are you talking about like key criteria?
Key criteria for the role, but not what people think should be on that piece of paper, what you actually want and need from that person. Because everyone in this room is going to be different to what. There'll be a couple of things. Invoicing, chasing payments, talking to parents. There'll be a couple of things that are the same. But what do you actually want them to do? Yeah? That is so important. And you'll start doing that list and they go, well, they won't do that. Get that thought out of your head. Yeah? Because you're going to create a role and then you're just going to find the right person. And I'm not saying please don't go home and like sack all of your office managers. We're going to have like a flurry of like office managers that are free. The other thing that I just want to say quickly is that don't be afraid to have tough conversations with them. I think this is the ones that I see thrive are where they're like a brother and sister. No, don't be a brother and sister, but they've got that relationship where they can say, that was really annoying. Or, that actually, I wasn't happy that you did that. Or, that really hurt me when you said that. Because what happens, as we know, is they end up talking to parents sometimes, and that's not healthy. Or they end up going home and talking to, and none of it's healthy. They need to have these conversations with you. You know, it needs to be like, I wasn't happy with the way you did that. Okay, cool. That's fair. That's fair. And then, yeah,
Question.
sure.
What are your thoughts with parents being a part of your reception office?
Personally, I just feel like there's...
Separate it?
I love my relationship with my mum. You know, we are best friends, but I couldn't work with her.
I mean, if parents are students.
Oh God, no. No.
I do it. I don't have a problem with it.
So can I give you a general? Yeah. So let me just quickly kind of give you why my reaction was probably like that. That was really. Sorry, and that's why I was shot. Probably not the best idea. Should have been my answer. Look, the reason that I'm really not into it is because they're invested in other things. They're not the number one flag bearer for you. They're the number one flag bearer for their student, for their child. Yes. Your student, their child. And no matter what you say, what you do, your kid is your kid. right? And so if for one reason they get moved to that second line and they're still all happy with you, behind your back they're going, oh, bumped her in the line, not doing that work today. Unfortunately, human nature, right? Let's just be honest. My favourite people to employ are people that don't have a connection existing, really. Look, there's cases where it works, right? But I remember when I worked with Sarah Bolter, so this is my first example of coming across office managers, and they ended up doing a new hire, and we did this exercise, ideal list, the values of that person, blah, 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 and ended up finding someone amazing that's still with them, but was outside of the business. People go, oh, but we want them to know dancing and blah, 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 blah. Look, you know what? You can kind of teach what they need to know. All I want is a happy face, someone that doesn't think anything is too hard, someone that just goes, I'll do that. Oh, yeah, that sounds cool, even if it's invoicing. You want the person that is, I found that kind of mums who have a child that's at school that might be ready to get back into it, but they're not a parent, obviously. Great. I've had some amazing clients with young go-getters, and sure, you might have them for 2 or 3 years, right? But you don't know how long you're going to have anyone around. So go for it and invest in them and mentor them and grow that role and put that role in place of exactly how you want it. Yeah? And get them to, as they're going through, get them to systemize, and we're going to talk about this, get them to systemize everything that they're doing. Right? Because that is going to be so valuable for you when the new person jumps on board, whenever that happens, and you I've got to sit down with you now for a month and train you on everything. No, because we've got Google Sites. And I'll tell you about that. We've got Google Sites and we've got video trainings and written trainings and step-by-step procedures because Sally's already done that. It's part of her job.
One of the big issues that my sister encounters, she runs a pole fit studio, is staff retention. So, basically, the role of in her field seems to be like a stepping stone for people that she employs to go off and get other jobs in other areas. They come in for the admin experience and the marketing experience, and they might hang out for a year or so.
So this is in your office manager role? Or
yeah, so in the office manager role, I've done everything that you've mentioned, but it's always a stepping stone because it's a part-time role. So it's got, it's they'll hang around for a year and a half, and then they move on. So then you've got or even maybe perhaps if it was a full-time role. So I have that staff, you know what I mean, holding on to good staff, because then they'll leave and then you've got to spend all of that training time again.
Yeah.
So
the thing about, and there's quite a few things that I think that you should look at. There's the initial recruitment of them. So you've done the exercise, which is great, but you then need to look at the type of person that you're getting in. And in the interview, are they saying to you, I want to do this for the rest of my life? Are they saying that this is a stepping stone? Are you asking that question?
I do. I ask all of those questions, and I ask what their 5-year goal is, and blah, blah, blah.
Great. And are you checking? The other great thing is a fulfillment check-in with all of your staff. This should happen for your teachers as well. Is that at least once a month? I like calling it fulfillment, because fulfillment is are you happy? Yeah? It's a fulfillment check-in and go, hey, I want to know, I say this to my assistant bench all the time, and we do it once a month. It's funny, I go, so what did you hate doing this month? And we have a conversation of things you hated doing. I hated doing that, not really keen on that. What did you really love? I love that we're doing this now. That was really exciting. And so I'm always aware of what they're loving, what they're not loving. I don't know if you're doing that, because what happens is the not loving tends to kind of consume them, and then if they're younger, they're ship jumpers, so they, I'm going to try over here now, and then I'm going to try over here. That's the harder thing with younger people. The check-in and the retention of staff, I'm not talking about retention today because we just don't have time, but in terms of teacher retention, having those kind of quarterly retreat types of activities when they're buying into the vision and they're contributing to the studio are really important. You need everyone in your staff to be buying into what you're doing and be on the same page. I'm surprised, but it would probably come down to the activity that they're doing, maybe how they're managed, whether it's from you or whoever else is working in the business.
I've had someone who worked with me for 18 months, and she was absolutely amazing in everything that you said.
Yeah.
She had to relocate to Melbourne, so I've got someone new in at the moment, and even gave them task-based activities as part of their interview process, which involved a little bit of marketing and graphic design. And interview was amazing, but then once they're in the job, you explain the system, they're not absorbing it, or they then take their own decisions to do things.
Yeah, and then it's management and expectations. So it's really managing what are your expectations the same as their expectations, and then checking in. So there's probably a few things. I hope that was helpful though. So we've kind of talked about who to hire. Invest the time. You've got to invest in your staff. Yeah? You can't just chuck them in the seat and go, here you go, here's a bunch of angry mothers. Have fun. Invest in them, and continually. It's like, I want you to think of them as you being their mentor. Right? Do not have the mindset they're going to leave. I just know they're going to leave. Because they will, if you're thinking that. I'm going to put my time and energy into this person to make them the best individual possible. That's how you want to go to any new recruit, any current recruit that you've got working for you. A couple of quick tips. Asana is like my favorite thing in the world. This is like a great software. It's free, and you can basically jump in there and have different members of your team set up and assign everyone jobs. It just saves the back and forth of emails. You can comment on certain jobs. I can say, hey, Sophie, you need to do this, and here's a deadline. And then she'll write back, thanks, Clint, got that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. Oh, where's this job at? It's amazing, and it's free. Check it out. It's cloud-based, phone, iPad, tuck shop, wherever. You can get it everywhere. And it's really good. Asana, Asana. Yeah, that's it. Asana. I knew we were chock-a-block. I've got 6 minutes. Map out your system. So I mentioned Google Sites before. Google Sites is like your own intranet. It's free. It's a great Google product, and it's good for systems. So you know how I mentioned about getting the receptionist on board to kind of map out, okay, this is how we take a new enrolment. Like, you should all have a mapped out enrolment process from inquiry through to registration. Bang, 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 bang. These are the steps. Here are the emails, copy and paste, whatever it is. You can put all of that into Google Sites, like our enrolment process, our costume hire process, our measurement process. And so it just sits there. It's cloud-based as well, so you can access it from anywhere. The great thing here is if you want to do video training, so if like it's a dance biz or it's something and you want to record your screen, you can use ScreenFlow or Jing to do that, and it'll record your screen while you're talking. Hey, so this is how we enroll someone in the system, blah, 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 blah. Do it once, done, put the link in there, amazing. My favourite thing to do, because then I never have to do it again.
What did you say is the software that's that you
Record the screen. So ScreenFlow if you're on a Mac, Jing if you're on a PC. Just type in screen recorder. They're the two best ones I like. Jing. Jing, like jingle. Without the LE. Also, this was a special offer I mentioned about DanceBiz. If you want to give DanceBiz a go, they'll give you guys here today a 60-day free trial, which is pretty good. Just use the promo code SUCCESS. Right. Okay, virtual assistants. Who has a virtual assistant at the moment? Who knows what a virtual assistant is? Cool, let's start there. What is a virtual assistant? It's like Wikipedia, but no, I put this definition myself. So basically a virtual assistant, if you think of your office manager or your receptionist, or let's just think about admin stuff. That really exciting stuff that you wake up in the morning jumping out of bed to do? That's what we're going to talk about, because a virtual assistant is someone offshore, so generally not in Australia, although they could be, that can help you with low-value tasks in your dance studio. So I'm going to get a bit deeper into this. So what can a virtual assistant actually do for you? So, for instance, we've got lots of members that have virtual assistants who are based in the Philippines. A lot of virtual assistants are in the Philippines. And they are fantastic workers. They are such beautiful people. And they're really hard workers as well if you recruit the right person. Can they run your studio for you? No. You know, can they do everything in your studio? No. But they can help you with admin. So this is what I love. So if we're talking about invoicing, we might be talking about research. So do you ever need research done on maybe some costumes or maybe some venues for concert? Maybe you need quotes on, you know, if we're talking about merchandise. So if you want to run a whole lot of new merchandise, maybe drink bottles through a website like maybe Alibaba. Does anyone use Alibaba at the moment? A couple of people, yeah. So if you're using... it's like it's great. It's like an online kind of like, you have to buy in bulk, but you can get like promotional things and drink bottles and notepads and maybe journals and all that super cool stuff. And so you can use a system like that. They can help you with the research for that. So it's all of those little things that you might be doing now as a studio owner that add up over time. So you're like, oh, it's only an hour doing a bit of research on Alibaba, or it's only an hour updating our social media for the next couple of days. It's those little things. So they do social media as well, which is fantastic. I'm going to get into the things that you're thinking in your head, like, well, am I giving my social media to someone in the Philippines? What are they going to put on it? We'll talk about all of that sort of stuff. But it's a new concept for the dance studio industry, but it's a concept that's been around for many, many years. I had virtual assistants when I was running Dance Life, which was sold it 3 years ago. So, you know, it's not a new concept in the world of business, but it's new in this space. And so I'm going to, as quickly as I can today, I want to wrap your head around the concept because it's quite new, and answer any of your questions that you've got around it. So here are some things they can do. They can answer telephones for you. They can do through VoIP, which is like a wireless kind of telephone system that you can use now. So there are, what's that noise? There are different things that they can help you with. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to look for you to do this. Who's doing admin in their business at the moment? Like quite a lot of admin. Yeah, okay. And remind me again, who's got like an office staff member, an office manager, a receptionist? Okay, cool. This is a great exercise for them to do as well, because we want them working on some more challenging things rather than just copying and pasting emails, you know, hi Donna when it's going to Jane, like I said before. So we want to do a thing, what we do, the green light system, do, delegate and delete. So I want you to actually go through your diary, and hopefully you track what you do and get your office assistant to do this as well. Go through your diary from the last month, the last 4 weeks, and I want you to traffic light it. So I want you to go through and write down what you should have done. What did you actually have to do yourself? What could you have delegated? And don't think to yourself, well, I don't have anyone there to give it to. What could you have actually delegated? So it didn't have to be done by you. Someone else could have done it if you had that person in place. Or sometimes you do have that person in place and you actually just didn't delegate the job because you thought, oh, it's just easier if I do it. Does anyone ever think that? Oh, it's just easier if I do it because then I have to explain it and da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, it's going to be a nightmare. And then you've had a 5-minute argument with yourself and then you just end up doing it anyway. We've all been there. And then delete. We want to know what we actually could have deleted. You'd be surprised, but I'm sure in the last 4 weeks you've actually done things that you just could have not done. And that's it. They're just left. Oh, imagine. Just leaving a task, just deleting it. I don't actually have to do that. And that could be, you know, lying on the lounge watching Ellen at 12 o'clock. I mean, what is in your diary that you could delete? This is the first thing that I want you to do. It's a basic exercise. It sounds really basic. What then you can go to the next step is work out how many hours during that month did you do things that you should have done? How many hours that month did you do things that you should have delegated? And how many hours that month did you do things that you should have deleted? And that number will be amazing. And I'd love you to email it to me, because it's always really interesting when we get down to the crunch, when we really get down to it, what did you have to do as the studio owner? And then you can get even trickier, and then you can kind of put into categories what you did. I did 20% admin. I did 50% marketing. I did 5% teaching. Whatever those kind of ratios are to you, you'll actually work out where you're spending. That's okay. You'll be on camera. Smile. So, tasks for virtual assistants. Let's kind of go through a couple of things. So the first one is email management. I'm going to teach you how to recruit for a virtual assistant, but let's just go through these. So the great thing, we talked about this before around emails. You know when you get all those email inquiries through, and a lot of the time it's like the same questions? Like you get those same 8 to kind of 16 questions that come through all the time. So what I want you to do, if you haven't already, is make sure that you've got in your Google Sites, which we talked about, or written down somewhere in like digital form, though, not in a notebook, is that you've got those frequently asked questions that come through, and you've got a formulated answer that goes back. Now, a lot of people will say, but Clint, I can't just copy and paste it because it's not personal. No. You know, you need to make sure that there's a personal element to that as well. But they can do email management for you. Yeah, some things though, this is where you have to watch them and train them, because some things you're going to need to take care of as well. You know, if a question comes through about, oh, hey, we did this and now we're moving to this class and we want to change this and my son's going to come in and I can't do it, you know, if it's one of those emails, the virtual assistant probably won't be able to manage that in their first week. Yeah, so again, it's about training this person. So starting on easy email management, what I would do for the first week is copy them in to all of the emails that you're sending out. That's a great way for them to start training and seeing the inquiries that are coming through. You might just start with them dealing with inquiries that are external, so new student inquiries, and then they can potentially, down the track, about 6 months, generally 3 to 6 months, they can start helping with internal kind of emails as well. This is a big kind of training game and really foreign for studio owners, but I love it. Like, we've probably got maybe 10 to 15 of our members now who have implemented this since last year, and they're slowly starting to see the real benefits of having a virtual assistant on board in their business, and I'll go through those as well. Learn and manage your studio software. So we talked about DanceBiz, Jackrabbit, Melinda's great software system that she's got coming out really soon. See, I'm plugging it for you, Melinda. They can help you with the basic kind of functionality of that as well, which is really cool. And the great thing about online software now is you've got how many tutorials, video tutorials and step-by-step systems actually show you how to use these management systems. Invoice and chase payments, depends how you're still doing your bookkeeping. I know for me, my virtual assistant, some of you might have been emailed Bench or no Bench. I mean, he does all of our accounts every quarter, you know, does our BAS, you know, works with my accountant, and we've got clients that do the same thing as well, just fills in a spreadsheet, processes it through our software. Like, it's really easy. Again, once and I've systemized that process really, really well, did the little training video like I talked about on ScreenFlow, and put it on our Google site, which is where we house all our information. So he just watches that once a quarter to remind himself how to do it, and he does it, and I give it like a 5-minute check over and it's done. Yes?
So is it really important that you know all of the tasks yourself first before you hand them out to the person?
See, I'm a big fan of doing that in every aspect of my business. Yeah, because then I go, oh, here, you learn this, and then they're like, I've done it, and then I'm like, okay, I've got to trust you because I don't know how to do it. So I'm a big fan. Do I need to know every nitty-gritty? No, but I need to have a really great overview of how that system works. Questions? No? No-show student check-ins. So this is my favourite, and I don't know if any of you do retention check-ins, but you know when you have a student that's like hasn't come to class, my favourite thing is a call from your office manager or an email that's like, hey, Mrs. Smith, Josie wasn't at class last night. I just want to make sure everything is okay. Who's doing that? Or maybe a phone call, like for every time that student's not there.
Oh, only if it's 2.
Yeah. And so 2 is great. Yeah, 2 is great. And again, create a system so that it might be like the first half an hour of the day, you just go bang, bang, bang. If they don't answer the phone, you leave the voicemail. Hey, it's Belinda just checking in. Sally wasn't at class. We missed her last night. I just want to make sure everything's okay. Give me a call if you've got any questions. That call or that email, I prefer the call. The call is just, like, that stuff you can't buy. Right? That comes back to your retention. And you might think, oh, but I'm so busy, I'm busy, because I know you're all really busy. That's like marketing, and hopefully you actually want to check in and make sure they're okay.
As a dance mum, that is actually priceless, because when she injured her back 2 years ago, because she injured her knee and then she injured her back, I was keeping in contact with the owner to let him know, but he never, over the last 2 years, he never once rang to see how she's doing, what's happening, nothing. And it was that made her decide, I don't want to go back there.
Yeah. Isn't it? And how the life of that, the value of that student, and not value just in money, but the value of having that bright face in your studio, that person that comes every week that's dedicated. I mean, it's a really small amount of time and energy for you to invest in something that is so super powerful. I can't talk enough about that. So I mentioned online research, data entry. So, like we do sheets of paper at enrolment. Hopefully a lot of you have moved on to online enrolments, but if you haven't and still got heaps of paper, this is great. This is great for them to be able to process all of them. If you've got paper, you can literally scan it and send everything through to them, and they can do all the data entry for you.
Can I ask a really quick question about enrolment? We don't have online yet, but we're getting it. Do you need to keep we've got them all in folders, enrolment forms. Is that a legal requirement to keep enrolment forms?
Look,
if I could get rid of them, I'd love it.
It depends. I'm a big fan of having a separate signed kind of terms and conditions with disclaimers separate from the enrolment form. Okay. Otherwise, it just becomes this massive kind of whole lot of paper. Do as much as you can online. The legal stuff, 100%. Because you don't want someone to turn around, hurt themselves in class and then sue you, and then you potentially be in a lot of trouble because they did you said type in your name to say that you agree, in an online enrolment or whatever it is. Yeah. So I'm still a big fan of that, but that's one sheet of paper. Yeah. Versus multiple. Yes, question?
Just to add on to that, can I ask how you would get around that? Because I'm looking at implementing online enrolment for next year too.
Yeah.
I'm in a small country town and there is no office or receptionist, so how do I get the signed sheet from them?
So who kind of sees the children or, the teacher? So can you...
Traditionally we've had an enrolment day where
they
come and read.
Yeah. But for the legal, if you've just got that sheet of paper, you just put it back onto the teacher as something that they need to make sure that gets back. They hand it out in the first class. They've got to bring it back by week 3 or week 4. Yeah. It's hard. It's this whole paper, no paper. Jackie?
We've also added a photograph permission waiver and a video now.
Oh, 100%.
Because of so much social media.
Yeah, so that needs to go in your terms and conditions now, that disclaimer. And it's video, it's photo, because now you don't know, they could be in class and one of the kids takes a photo and then the parent's like, what was it, man? Annoying. But again, can I just talk about that? That's expectation. So when they kind of sign up, make sure that they're really clear that there will be photos taken, there will be videos taken during class. Make sure that there's no surprises there. That's with everything. I'm big on setting those expectations up front. Beck?
Just back to the virtual assistant.
Yeah.
So you're suggesting with the no student check-ins that they would actually call that student or they email them?
They can email them. Once they get to that kind of 6-month kind of comfortable point and their English needs to be really good, then they can. Yeah, but they can definitely do the emails. Maybe you employ the 2-week phone check-in, but maybe every week, every day, kind of in the morning, the first 30 minutes for that virtual assistant is who wasn't in class. And you might have online roles now with DanceBiz, or if you've got a software system, or the teacher emails them through to you. However you kind of work in your studio, I'm not sure. But that's not a hard process to now streamline and make happen. Social media and website management, so they can do your social media for you in terms of posting on your page. So when we talk about Facebook, you might have a page. I'll go in a little bit about social media later. You might have a page. You probably have a closed group as well. Your page should be a new student acquisition platform, not a current student platform. So think about page and group, right? Your group is really interactive. You should have a closed group for your studio, and I can talk to you more about this in terms of different ways to do it. But your page is where new students are coming. So they're coming to your website or Facebook. They're coming to one of those first, right? And so your page is about acquisition. So you might say to your virtual assistant, hey, I'm going to send you, and it depends on what you've got set up with Dan, I'm going to send you some photos, I'm going to send you bits and pieces. Can you jump on and schedule that into Facebook for the week? You know, so you've got to start thinking about how you can streamline what you do, what your office manager does, and see if you can put it into a system so that someone like a virtual assistant can take it over for you. And you can approve the content. You don't want it going live without approving it. But the great thing now about, you know, Facebook is you can schedule all the posts in your page like I do, and I go through and go, that's fine, that's weird, that's fine, I'm not sure about that. And I go through and say, hey, replace those two. Yeah, but instead of me sourcing all the content all the time, you know, I can get someone else to do it. A really clear brief, though, and we're going to talk about briefs. Because you can't go, woo, off you go. You'll get crazy stuff back. I've learned, yeah.
So why would you bother writing it all out and doing it all and sending it all? Maybe, I know you're going to dong me on the head now, but
that's okay.
May as well do it yourself.
Yeah. No, so you're not...
Done it all.
So you create the system once. So you go, here's the brief. I want you to do social... So I'm not sourcing any of the content. You wouldn't source any of the content for social media. You would give them a brief saying, social media for Eddinghausens is XYZ. And you'd go through and write, this is what we need. This is the type of content we want. You do that once. You send it to your virtual assistant, and then every week they're just sourcing content for you. And then you spend 5 minutes going through going, okay. Done. Yeah.
Can they plagiarise?
Sorry?
Where do they get it from? Is it plagiarised? Do they have...
No, it depends what content you want on your studio page. Like I'm big on like articles, so they might jump onto Dance Life or Dance Train or one of the dance and go, wow, this is a great, you know, going back to dance, and there's a great kind of thing for your parents, you know, your new students would love. Or you send them, and they'll just link to it. Or you'll send them, or your teachers, whoever, I mean, we could talk about this all day. You could send images to them and say, you know, in an email, here's an image, can you put that in during the week? You know, or your office manager could do that. So it's just about getting clever with your time and making sure you're focused on the bigger projects that are more valuable for your studio, generally income kind of projects or retention.
Is there some in particular that you find these days?
I'm going to go through that, yeah. So social media, diary management, like if you've got a crazy diary, like with appointments and teacher meetings and parent meetings, I mean, I never touch my diary, right? My calendar bench just like manages my calendar, and I would suggest that they manage your calendar for you as well. And that might be you copying them on emails to begin with, scheduling appointments, but that again is such a low value task.
Is he a VA or?
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yes.
Because he like answers stuff that I need to ask. So.
Yeah, he's great. He's
so probably dumb things that I ask, like what the parents ask, but like, you know, but things like the car parking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's straight away. And
You know, Bench has probably been with me now for, I think we've been together a year, you know, and I've put time and energy to train him, but, you know, I just went to the UK for 2 weeks and I did 3 hours of work. That was it. Everything else.
He's not from Australia?
He's in the Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go through the...
He is so good that I actually thought he was going to be here today. I did not realise that.
So did he until I said, I'm not flying you. He goes, maybe next year. I said, maybe. I'm going to go through that too.
PA, personal assistant, to do all that stuff where who's here in human life, like you can actually physically talk to them, it's not saying that they're not, and virtual assistants like the
cost. Yeah, and I'll talk about that too. Creating newsletter notices and sending them out. Where to go? Okay, so Chris Ducker is a mate of mine. He's got a great website, chrisducker.com. He's like the virtual assistant king. That's like, how long is that URL? I'll send them to you. Silly. Okay, copy them out, everyone. I'll send them to you. And he's got great, like 101 tasks to outsource to a virtual assistant or free content. He's got a great book as well called Virtual Freedom. And I would suggest it'll be closed. Go to Dimmix or go into Book Depository or whatever, order Virtual Freedom. It'll change your life, that book. That'll run you through everything about outsourcing, not just virtual assistants. And it'll just open your mind and you'll get really excited because you'll be like, I can finally take a holiday. But I'll send you those links. So, where to find a virtual assistant, outsource or local discussion. So, 2 places that I would go to are Elance and Odesk. And has anyone had, I know you guys have, has anyone had experience using Elance or Odesk? Great. So these are outsourcing websites. And you can post a job on these sites to get anything done. So it might be a poster, like graphic design work. It could be data entry. It could be build me a new website. It could be do some research, create a database. Oh my God, there's so many things that you can do. And basically you post a brief for a job, right? So for a virtual assistant, I found Bench on Elance and I posted a thing that said, I need a virtual assistant who can cope with someone really crazy. And this is what I need you to do. And so I had a really detailed brief for me of what I needed. And if you go through Chris's 101 tasks, you'll just be able to pull out. And if you do that do delegate and delete exercise, all that stuff that you wanted to delegate, you could be able to put with a virtual assistant. So create this ideal brief of a virtual assistant. And then you post the brief and you'll get people that will start giving you submissions. And they'll say, hey, I can work 10 hours for you a week. You might start at 10 hours a week. Bench is full-time for me, 35 hours a week. It's up to you. You might want to start small and say, look, we want to start you at 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week, and then we want to scale this job, but you want to see kind of how they go first. So Elance and Odesk, jump on board and just get familiar with the platform. You might want to search virtual assistant within these platforms to see other briefs that people have put up for virtual assistants.
How do you pay him? Does he invoice?
He invoices. So we've taken it out of escrow now and we use PayPal. He sends me an invoice. Yeah, it's tax deductible. He sends me an invoice every week and he's not, there's no super, there's no, sick children, there's none of that. It's really easy. Not yet, but I do keep checking when they're going to have, because his lovely wife, Amy, I'm always like, are you having a baby yet? So in terms of the brief, let's kind of just go through some stuff. So you want to outline their core weekly tasks. So what do they have to do for you every week, and any technology or software that they're going to be required to use. So you don't want to get stuck when they're like, I don't have Microsoft Word, or I don't have the internet. They would, but do you know what I mean? You don't want to get stuck. Mention the working hours, so how many hours you want them to do per week. Mention the rate of pay, which I'm going to go into. The commitment that you want. Look at their past ratings and reviews. So on Elance and Odesk, it's going to show you the past jobs that they had, like how many stars that they've got. So that's going to give you a really good idea and ask for references. Then you want to have an interview with them, which will be via Skype, or go to meeting, or whatever you use kind of for conferencing with other people overseas. So I always I picked out my 5 and then I interviewed 3 people via Skype. So face-to-face, hi. And you talk via Skype, and then I actually gave them, cool. So I asked them questions about the role, go through what you've given them, and then I gave them exercises to actually complete, like test exercises of what they would be doing in the job. So I said, I need you to transcribe something. I need you to put together a database of X, Y, Z. I need you to do this for me. So each of the 3 did that, and they sent it back, and then I checked their work. So for you, it might be maybe find 2 days of social media posts around XYZ. How would you update this on the website? So you want to come up with some ideas around what they could do for you, and then you put them on a trial. So you pick one out of your 3, and then you'll say, we're going to do a 4-week trial. And over those 4 weeks, these are the boxes that you need to tick. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great.
I think the importance of split testing them is something that a lot of people make mistakes on Odesk. So generally, if I have a new task, I will always hire 3 people. And I will test them on one element of that task.
Yeah.
And see how they perform. Because there's one that will generally be really good, one who will be average, and one that probably doesn't even show up.
Yeah. And I mean, look, when I first started, I remember I had like a virtual assistant, like she went missing for like 3 months. And then her husband sent me a message saying, sorry, she's just been really unwell. I was like, but like 3 months. And so sometimes you'll get a dud, basically. So that's why I've always recreated my recruitment process. And I did this one with Bench and he stayed, so I'm really happy. And he's great. So let's look at cost, because everyone always goes, how much is it going to cost? Like your question here was, what's the pros and cons? I mean, it really is the cost. So you're looking at about $250 a month part-time for 15 to 20 hours per week. And if you're looking at full-time hours, about $500 per month. I think I pay about $550 a month. So you're generally looking you can get one starting at about $2.50 US an hour, up to about $8 US an hour. And I just, because people always go, but that's unfair. I support Bench's family, like him and his wife. They live off what I pay them, because obviously cost of living in the Philippines is very different to living in Sydney. And so I love that I can do that. And with our studio owners, some of them have a virtual assistant only, and they still do some of like the higher end admin work. But we also have some who have virtual assistants and they work with the office manager. So you can keep your office manager, but say, hey Betty, you know how you hate doing all of this crap admin work? Well, we can actually give that to someone who's going to really enjoy it. Like every quarter, Bench gets so excited about doing the accounts. And I feel really bad because I'm like, hey, and he goes, I can't wait. And I'm like, okay. Because he loves it, and loves the challenge. What you'll find, if you get the right person, they love it when you give them new stuff. Like when I did this event and I gave him bits of it to look after, that was new and really challenging for him to kind of pull together bits and pieces of this. So again, the fulfillment for your virtual assistant is also really important. So they're the pay rates. You can use PayPal, or like we mentioned here, if you're using Elance or Odesk, you can do the payment through that system as well. So definitely check it out. And just to manage your virtual assistant in terms of the work, because they're not sitting next to you, so you can't kind of look at them and go, what are you doing? These are some things. I can send you these as well. Asana, which I talked about, which is where you delegate jobs and you can comment on them. Toggle, which we use, so I can see every week what Bench has worked on for how long he's actually worked on it for. So your virtual assistant will say, hey, I worked 20 hours for you this week. I did 8 hours on emails, 5 hours on social media, and it just breaks it down so you can actually see what they're doing. Time Doctor will actually record screen captures of their screen every 5 minutes, so you can see what they're actually working on if they're staying on Facebook for an hour. This sounds like really micromanaging. But you know what I'm about? I mean, for me, it's really important that I know what's happening in my business, and this is normal for them. Imagine if you said that to your office staff member. Hey, guess what? We're doing Time Doctor, and I'm going to see every 5 seconds what you're doing. Hub Staff, Google Sites again, Dropbox, where you keep files. I'll send you that so you can have a look.
So have you taken him out of the Elance system now?
Yeah, I've taken him out of it. Yeah, it just was too annoying in terms of invoicing, and I've just streamlined it. Yeah, Natalie.
Google Sites.
Yep.
You said to put all your systems on people's sites.
Yeah.
I've actually got a similar thing going on in Word documents in a Dropbox file. Is there is it better off
Look, I'm not a fan of like multiple. What I love about Google Sites is you'll actually see the systems like down the left, and you can just click and they open up. So it's just an efficiency thing, really. Whereas you've got to click, oh, is that the right one? Is that the right one? You just copy and paste from Word. That's what we did when we moved across. There was a question, I think, up the back. Yes.
With the virtual assistant, and instead of paying them an hourly rate or so, could you pay them like per task? What if one task doesn't take even an hour?
Oh, you could, yeah. I think I'd prefer if you've got a specific task. Like I still outsource like graphic work and different bits and pieces, and that will be a task, and I'll pay them a fee for that job. But that's not a virtual assistant. That's just getting someone to do a piece of, like if you want a new poster done, or maybe a website, if it's project-based. But yeah, if you want like something really little done that's going to take 5 minutes, I mean, I would say to all of you, get a virtual assistant for like 5 hours a week. If that's where you need to start there, because this is where the world's moving to, you know. And if you want to become more profitable in your business, like this is just such a no-brainer. And if you want more of a life, you know, I think this is... I remember one of our members emailed me at the end of last year saying, my husband's never been happier. You know, or like, I think that's like one of the best compliments I've ever had. I was like, that wasn't the intention of the program, but if he's happy, I'm really happy about that. Sorry, question?
Just my question about when you're saying the virtual assistant updating your Facebook page and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you give them all your passwords and things like that to go into your Facebook?
And this comes back to what we talked about at lunch around trust. You can't like on the day go, hey, here's all my credit card details, you know, the first week. But the great thing with Facebook is you can add admins, so it's not like they're logging into your personal or anything like that. They're just a part of the page. And so, like, Bench can't access, like, my personal Facebook, but he has access to all of the pages.
Or use Hootsuite.
Yeah, look, you can use Hootsuite or Social Planner, or there's lots of kind of Buffer, these kind of software where they actually just pull everything together for you. That's an option. If it works for you, great. If you're across multiple social media platforms, yeah, we're going to talk about social media and my thoughts on that.
Just quickly, are you CC'd into, say, emailing? Where do you draw the line at what you've built a trust with your guy?
Yeah. We go, so I do, and we're on a stage at the moment where I am copied in on everything, but I'll do kind of a month on, 2 months off. I don't want to be CC'd on everything. I like a clean inbox, so I actually don't need to see everything. But once kind of every 2 months or 3 months, I'll say you've got to copy me in on everything for a month. So that's kind of my quality check. And I know if my clients say, oh, hey, that Bench sent me this thing or whatever, then I know to get onto it. But I think because we've got Asana and because and all of those other mechanisms in place, so actually, literally I'm like sitting next to him in the Philippines, there's not a lot of room for that to happen. And I am really trusting. And, you know, it has bit me in the butt a couple of times, but my other option is to be focused on what he's not doing and could he be doing that and I don't have time for that. So that's kind of how I work. But again, it's been taken 12 months, you know, but time, nothing can replace time.
Thank you for joining us today. For all the resource links from the show and to receive access to our free dance studio growth training, make sure you visit transformmydancestudio.com.